What does a smile mean in the middle of a loss? The Yankees had just walked off the field after a 4-0 loss to the Cleveland Guardians. The scoreboard was blunt. The offense, harmless. It was one of those nights when fans turn off the TV shaking their heads. But as the team gathered their gear and frustration spread to the locker room, one moment stood out. Fernando Cruz was smiling. It wasn't sarcasm. It wasn't irony. It was something rare, almost out of place, amid the crisis surrounding the Yankees bullpen. It was the smile of someone who knows he's finally back, and who's ready to change the script. Cruz had spent time on the sidelines due to shoulder inflammation. For any pitcher, that's serious. But for someone trying to secure a spot in one of the most demanding rosters in the league, it's a sentence of doubt. But that night at Progressive Field, he returned, and he returned with authority. In the 8th inning, facing one of the most efficient batting orders in the American League, Cruz took the mound with the responsibility of preventing the game from slipping further away. He gave up 2 hits. One of them was a home run to Kyle Manzardo, extending the lead to 4-0. But it didn't rattle him. He kept attacking the zone, stayed in control, and above all, struck out 3 batters. The ball came out hot. The movement on the splitter was deceiving hitters consistently. It was clear. Fernando Cruz was back, and maybe even better than before. "I feel amazing," he told reporters in a video shared by SNY Yankees. "The velocity was there. The stuff was there. The splitter is incredible. Everything felt great in my hand. Despite still playing at a high level, represents a short-term. I'm good." Those words, though simple, hit deeper in the current context of the roster. Yankees manager Aaron Boone praised the performance and highlighted the impact of Cruz's splitter. According to him, the pitch generated 5 whiffs and produced some of the worst swings he's seen in a while. But why so much excitement over a reliever? The secret lies in the timing. Luke Weaver, up until now the Yankees' top bullpen arm, is out for 4 to 6 weeks with groin strain. Weaver had been absolutely dominant. With a 1.05 ERA, 24 strikeouts, and only 7 walks in 25 2/3 innings, he had become the most reliable late-game option. His rise came at critical time. Right after Devin Williams blew a save against the Toronto Blue Jays in April, in a collapse that shook the confidence of both fans and the coaching staff. Weaver stepped up and delivered. But now, without him, the bullpen is once again surrounded by uncertainty. Devin Williams is back, but the dominance didn't come with him. In his most recent appearance, he nearly cost the team another win against the Guardians. Command issues, trouble closing innings, and a constant sense of instability. The trust is no longer there, not from the fans, and not from the bench. And that's where Fernando Cruz becomes more than just a reliever returning from injury. He becomes a real option, a rising name, an unexpected relief, and maybe the bridge until Weaver returns. But that's not all. The way Cruz carried himself on the mound says a lot about his mindset. After weeks away, he came back with poise, with intensity, with conviction, and with a splitter that, according to Boone, caused confusion and desperation among opposing hitters. 5 whiffs, 3 strikeouts, and an emotional impact that goes far beyond the box score. This moment represents more than just a solid outing. It marks the beginning of a quiet rebuild in the bullpen. Now, Aaron Boone has more options. With Cruz performing well, Tim Hill could be used in lefty matchups. Williams could be protected in less tense situations. And who knows, depending on how things unfold, Cruz might even flirt with more frequent high-leverage innings. But all of this depends on what comes next. What will we see from Fernando Cruz in the upcoming games? Can he stay consistent? Will the splitter stay sharp? Will the velocity hold? These questions echo throughout the Bronx. And every game from here on out will be an answer. Because for a team like the Yankees, every detail matters. And a stable bullpen is what separates October from frustration. And you, fan? Do you think Fernando Cruz deserves more chances on the mound? Should he compete for the closer role while Weaver is out? Or do you still believe Devin Williams will regain the command and control that once made him an all-star? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your take. This channel is for those who live baseball with emotion, with critique, and with passion. In baseball, as in life, everything can change in a single night. And sometimes what seems like just another regular season game is actually the beginning of something much bigger. The New York Yankees were defeated by the Guardians 4-0. On the scoreboard, just another loss. But on the mound, something different happened. Fernando Cruz, a backup pitcher, nearly forgotten on the main roster, finally returned. And he came back smiling. Yes, smiling. Even after giving up a home run, even with the game practically sealed. Cruz felt something that goes beyond the final result. He felt his arm respond. The ball had life. The splitter was sharp. His body was ready. "I feel incredible," he told reporters. The velocity was there. The stuff was there. The splitter is amazing. Everything felt incredible in my hand. And for a team that's been dealing with crucial absences, the most glaring being Gerrit Cole, the anchor of the rotation, Cruz's return isn't just another bullpen option. It's a new source of hope. Aaron Boone, typically reserved with his words, was direct in praising Cruz's return. According to him, Cruz's splitter caused chaos for the Guardians, forcing wildly off-balance swings. It was a clear signal. Cruz might be more than just an emergency option. He could be part of the solution. And that matters, because the injury to Luke Weaver was a major blow. One of the most consistent pitchers on the team, with a 1.05 ERA and 24 strikeouts in just over 25 innings. Dominant, reliable, and now, despite still playing at a high groin strain, represents a short-term. While Devin Williams is still trying to regain his rhythm after a rocky return, Cruz suddenly becomes a valuable piece. But the story doesn't end there, because while the bullpen adjusts internally, a new rumor is exploding outside. A name is echoing through MLB circles. A name that represents not just talent, but also boldness. Chris Sale, a veteran, dominant, National League Cy Young winner, one of the most feared left-handers of the past decade. And today, being speculated, unlikely as it may seem, as a potential addition to the Yankees. The rumor began as a whisper. Chris Rose of John Boy Media floated the idea. Could the Braves, underperforming with a 27-33 record, consider parting ways with big names? And what if Chris Sale was among them? The idea gained traction when Andrew Wright of Newsweek wrote that Sale could be a high-impact addition in New York. And the arguments are far from far-fetched. With a 2.93 ERA and 96 strikeouts in 72.2 innings, Sale is still one of the best. And the Yankees, despite ranking among the top 10 in collective ERA, face a delicate situation. Gerrit Cole is still out. Will Warren has a 5.19 ERA. Clark Schmidt sits at 4.04. These are shaky numbers, especially for a team with October ambitions. Wright was clear. Sale could elevate the Bronx rotation to a new level. With Carlos Rodon and Nestor Cortez, the Yankees could potentially have 3 of the top 5 lefties in the league. A rotation capable of going toe-to-toe with any lineup. But here's where reality and desire collide. The Braves, even in a slump, still have enough talent to compete. And more importantly, they have financial commitments and a roster structure that make a rebuild unlikely. Trading Chris Sale would mean admitting defeat. And if they went down that path, the asking price would be high. Very high. After all, Sale still has a year and a half left on his contract, including a 2026 option. He's a valuable asset. You don't trade a Cy Young for scraps. And here's the problem. The Yankees have only one prospect in MLB's top 100. Shortstop George Lombard Jr., a promising player, yes, but a lone piece. And not enough to sway the Braves. It's also important to remember that Sale isn't just any name. He brings leadership, playoff experience. He changes the atmosphere in a clubhouse. And that kind of presence comes with a price tag, too. So as much as the idea excites Yankees fans, a trade for Chris Sale still feels like a distant dream. One of those storylines that stirs a rumor mill, but rarely comes to life. Still, the very existence of this rumor reveals something crucial. The Yankees know they need to act, and fast. Because without Garrett Cole, every game is a tightrope, and every series brings them closer to decision. Make an urgent upgrade or risk wasting a season that once looked destined for greatness. That's why names like Sale pop up. Because even if unlikely, they represent the kind of impact this roster needs. Because while Fernando Cruz is a high upside gamble, the team is also searching for certainties. And no one in New York sleeps, soundly waiting for miracles. So the question is inevitable. Should the Yankees sacrifice part of their future, their prospects, their youth, for a name like Chris Sale despite the risks? Or should they keep relying on internal adjustments, hoping Cruz, Williams, and eventually Cole can carry the load? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel, because this story is far from over. The trade deadline is approaching, and with it will come decisions that could shape the next decade in the Bronx. In the next videos, we'll dive into other names linked to the Yankees rotation, break down the front office's strategy, and of course, track Garrett Cole's recovery closely. Summer is just beginning, and the Yankees are about to walk through fire